chances come against the big boys. You don't get that many, and when you do, you have to make the most of them. And the higher he wants to go up the ranking list, that's what becomes more and more important as you go along. You don't get buckets of chances, but especially against Ronnie, they're massively important if you don't take them. And that's why the scoreline's 5-1. He hasn't done that today.
Needs one more, O'Sullivan, for a place in the semi. Here we go.
You don't see many poor break-offs these days in top-class snooker. There's no damage done other than to the blue and brown.
As the last frame was an orthodox frame, this already has got the makings of a scrappy one. The black's blocked up. Browns on the cushion, blues off its spot. Reds are all bunched up, covering each other.
No path back to balk for Ronnie O'Sullivan, so looking to lay on a red, which he does successfully. It's the type of frame. What if both players go, can we have a re-rack? They both say we want a re-rack just because it's gone messy. It could be the future a little bit. Don't have to play. Both players go, no, this has the makings of a long drawn out frame. Good safety, cutting off escapes down the left-hand side of the table as we look on our TV screen. This is going to take some working out. Could try some sort of weird screw back to balk with that red that's further down the table, try and sort of get out of trouble. Coming down to see now if he comes off two cushions and plays a shot similar to Ronnie's shot. Is that red on the right corner potable? Looks like he thinks he's going to be okay containing the situation. Bit underpaced, I think.
Foul, a miss. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 4. Yeah.
So he's going to have one more go at this before he's
Can't see through. Just check that for me, Marcel, please.
under a bit of pressure. I'm sure he'll make the adjustment.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, guys.
Hit it harder. Looks to be as played. However, you would assume he's going to be back in the same area with the same problem after this shot from Ronnie. 2 or 3 cushion safety. It's critical from Martin O'Donnell's position. If he can see this red that's poked its nose out, he's got a chance to get back to balk, but if not, it's the same type of shot. Big area to hopefully lay into. Those 3 reds now in a line of 2 cushions, so the direction of the escape's not that much of a problem. Still got to be careful though. If he does play the 2 cushion get out, he wants to lay on a red. Wonder if there's a shot round the back of the 3 reds that are in a line on the right hand side of the table. He could perhaps play cushion first and try and just get the cue ball into the corner, the right corner. Maybe a risk of going in off, but as long as he got the ball safe, he'd settle for that. And what's he sorted out here? Yeah, there's a safe area over here. Looks to have contained the situation on first glance. Clever safety shot. Although, looks like he stuck a red up. Tough to get on a colour. This frame had the words nightmare written all over it very early on from the opening break-off when blue and brown went safe. It's been a problem for both players ever since.
Well, you can see it was almost half an hour since his last pot, and there was an argument for saying if Ronnie did leave him something that wasn't too easy, the chances are that'd be Ronnie's best way of getting a leave in this frame.
Well, Martin O'Donnell tried to get some sort of position, made the pot a lot harder.
One.
There's every chance that that attempted long pot could be his last. It'll probably be his last shot in this match.
Yeah, it's not all plain sailing. There's a lot of reds all grouped together around the black, but
7.
more so than any other player on the circuit. These balls are still at
8.
Ronnie O'Sullivan's mercy. It's one part of the game I feel that he really enjoys the challenge of an awkward layout of balls. It gives him his own personal challenge.
14. 15.
Pink available.
21.
So 4 pockets, which makes his task a lot easier.
22.
'Although the reds are all blocking each other around the black, whenever he pots one, it releases another one.
28. 29. 35. 36.
'And when there are a lot of open reds, the pink is an easier ball to work around than the black.
42.
Get yourself in less traps than you can on the black spot.
43.
Ronnie deliberately leaving the cue ball fractionally high there so he can stun across for one more loose red that's potable into the same pocket, inching ever closer to the winning line.
49.
He's got a couple of loose reds still, one down in the bottom of the
50.
table, one on the side cushion. Then maybe another red goes. Very close to that blue.
Now, when John was saying in the studio what Mark can take from this
56.
match, I suppose one thing he can take is most of the players he'll come up against won't be as good as Ronnie O'Sullivan.
57.
He's had a great season. knocking on the doors of the top 64 to stay on the tour by right. It's all relative, considering the fact he dropped off the tour a couple of times. He should
63.
be 2 down.
64.
Yeah, I think if he watches this match back, he'll just see the unforced errors he's made, and that's the problem with a lot of players play Ronnie O'Sullivan. It's the easy shots that they play wrong, not so much the difficult ones.
70.
And what seemed like inevitably Ronnie O'Sullivan over the line now in this
71.
frame. And it would be a great way to go out with a century. Packed house here at the Barbican. I've seen a fair bit of Ronnie today. Don't you see as much of him? He's usually back in the dressing room by now.
$78. $84. $85.
It's starting to look very much like Ronnie O'Sullivan is going to bookend his performance today with 2 centuries, 1 in the first frame, 1 in the final frame. Again, the blue is just hampering.
$92.
Just needs 1 decent. I think the red passes the green, so maybe not as tough a positional shot as I first thought. He is going to play for it for 1 in the middle pockets. But that kiss will do him no harm.
98.
Well, it was Ronnie O'Sullivan
99.
who knocked the brown and blue safe off the break. Let's see if he can knock them in from where they are.
$101. 103.
Wouldn't put it past him. Blue's a lot more difficult than it looks on our overhead screen.
Try and move the brown here.
$106. Ronnie O'Sullivan,
So a century to finish with for Ronnie O'Sullivan. He's not really been put under any pressure today from his opponent. In the end, it's a very comfortable victory. 6-1 into the semi-finals.
Yeah, Ronnie finishing off impressively with that 106, his 2nd century of the match and his 6th century indeed of the week. Comfortable in the end, Alan.
Yeah, and as Steve touched on today, he brushes aside these opponents with a minimum of fuss in the end, and not an absolute overdrive, but just so consistent. He played iffy at worst for a couple of frames, and then he just, once he finds it, and such a good finisher, JP.
Oh,
To finish matches off, it's just, honestly, we extol many virtues he's got, but there's never been anyone better than finishing games off. I mean, he came to the table there, did it look like it was going to be a century? But he made it 1, and he just completely finished it off and gives himself, you know, the least amount of aggravation.
He does, and actually to have the desire to finish off with a century there and to want to be striding over the line rather than just falling over it is to his credit.
We were both drooling, actually, that his cue ball in the last frame, he's got it singing songs and righting wrongs. It's just, he is sublime with a cue ball, and sight to behold for his opponent more so than any husband.
And of course, he's chasing 1,000 centuries, which will be
absolutely unprecedented in the history of the sport. So he's on 986.
I think it is now,
you know, so it's coming any time soon.
Probably not this week, however. You never know. You never know. It's going to get a move on, though. Yeah. But tell you what, you wouldn't take anything. Anything's possible where he's concerned. But so far, the toughest match he's had, Ken Doherty, on that Saturday.
Yeah, and it's ironic actually because he's been the most experienced of the players that he's played. You know, he's played him a few times. He's been not comfortable in playing, but he knows what to expect. The other opponents Ronnie's had this week have just been, a couple of them have been rabbits in headlights and not used to the situation. Ken, obviously, with his experience, is the one who put it up to him most.
He sure did. And since then, Ronnie's already beaten Joe Yulong, Jack Lazowski and, of course, Martin today, after having beaten Ken Doherty before that. Alex Simmons as well. Well done, Ronnie. We're just saying that's a great test of your concentration, your focus, and you've passed it really well. How did you rate that passing of the examination today, Ronnie?
Yeah, no, I've never played Martin before, you know, and I know he's a steady kind of approach player, but when you've never played someone, you just don't know, you know. So, you know, he's got to the quarterfinals, had some great results this season. So I didn't know what his scoring power was like, his potting. So I was just a bit on edge, you know, just trying to feel my way into it. And it's never good because you've got to try and impose yourself as much as you can. But please, you know, that's probably a really good match for me because I had to really play some safety and be patient, yeah. Yeah,
and actually the guys were just saying the way you strode over the line there with a century must leave the arena feeling in a good place, actually.
Yeah, I'm enjoying, you know, playing and that and practice and stuff like that. And sometimes I'm not taking my match form immediately on the match table, but I'm finding my feet. So I know my game's there. It's just nice to get it right from the off, you know.
Now, Alan and John and I were discussing your work with Steve Feeney, and you came in, actually, you were chatting away with Jason the other day about what you thought is a fantastic science. I know you've been really engaged in it, but Alan, you noticed a couple of things about Ronnie's setup at the moment that we don't know if it's just a change or not. Have a look.
I'm always watching all the players. What's this swipe about? What's
the swipe?
A couple of 2 or 3 swipes before going in.
What with a cue?
Yeah.
No, I just think it's when you get the setup, you know, it's sort of like you feel like you've got your cue in your hand and you want to do something.
More for a visual thing?
No, it's nothing to do with the cue in my hand. It's just sort of getting myself set for the shot. But when you've got the cue in your hand, you think, like, I want to be doing something with it. Otherwise you feel like a bit like...
So it's like a trigger movement as much as anything?
It's nerves, you know. If I probably worked on not doing it, it's, you know, it's nothing to do with the method. It's just how you get set up on the shot, so you've got the cue in your hand.
Is there any way, Ronnie, I mean, obviously we haven't had a chance to talk about this, and without getting into too much depth, is there any way of trying to tell everybody what it is that he's worked on, what he's improved in your game?
Well, I wouldn't even do that, you know. It's Steve's method, and if you want to go and see the guy, you know, he's obviously, he's the coach, I'm just a pupil. I love to learn. It's, you know, I'm really enjoying what it is, and you know, it not only works for snooker, it could work for golf. I think if Tiger Woods got in contact with him, I think he'd win another 4 or 5 majors because he believes that he can do it with, you know, with all golf clubs. So you know, it's a great. Yeah, I think it's just a modern day sport now. There's such small margins that Steve's kind of looked on something that's kind of, you know, to try and make you the most consistent and the best you can be, really.
So what sort of percentage increase have you felt since working with him in your game, would you say?
I feel like I've got a lot more shots in my locker. I feel like my long game's a lot better. I feel like I'm pure striking more. I feel like I'm much more in control. I feel more compact. Everything that you want to feel as a sportsman, you know. You know, you just have to look what he done for Mark Williams, you know. Most people wouldn't have noticed it, but as a player, you notice the changes that he went through, and you know, very, very compact and solid, and you know, and that's all you want to be, really, you know. Was
it Mark's success actually in seeing what he'd achieved with him that maybe persuaded you to think about going to him in the first place?
It wasn't so much success because I know Mark's, you know, a great player, and you know, if he had won 3 or 4 tournaments, you know, you wouldn't have been surprised, you know. But I just think it was just the way his technique had changed and the way he was, you know, setting up to the ball, and I knew there was something going on there, you know, and I always want to learn and improve, and you know, I'm just pleased that he's working with me. You know?
Me too. Funny enough, I was at the championship. We were in the studio there, by the practice tables of the Crucible, and I was watching Mark, and I thought something's changed big time. You can tell when someone just hits the ball properly, can't you?
Yeah.
And he was hitting the middle stitches on the pocket all the time. It wasn't like off the jaws. It was like.
I mean, there's times when I'm playing the shot now, and I'm like not just wanting to get it in. I'm thinking, oh, I want it in the left side of the pocket or the right side of the pocket, and you know, not all the time, but there's times when you.
Well, you did it there. Then you're on the pink in the break in the last. You pinched a bit of the pocket. You need to come round for the last.
There's long periods where you go play, and I just feel like I can just pinch parts of the pocket now, so it just opens up more possibilities, you know.
It must be great, though, because you've sort of covered all the bases. You've got Steve Peters on the mental side.
I've run out of people. Unless Jesus Christ comes back to life and wants to like, do some his magic. But, I just, but, yeah, great with Steve Peters, obviously. I still have to work on that, because you get excited, just getting a bit excited out there, and I'm like, calm down, because it's so different from the practice table to the match table, and you can't just pot everything, you'd love to, but you can't, So you have to find a way.
It's funny Ronnie's talking about watching Mark. When I'm watching Ronnie, I think see the long shots you're talking about. To me, they've got to go in, look about them.
Yeah.
Where I used to watch every play, and I think I really fancy it. Yeah. Now it's got that go in look, and that's the difference, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the easiest way to explain it is probably it gets you playing. I mean, feeling like John Higgins. I watched John Higgins. If you just looked at a picture of John Higgins on the shot, you go, "There's nothing that can go wrong. It's perfect. He's supple. He can float them in. He's rock solid." And I think he turns you into that type of player. Look, like when you're on the shot, you can look at a player and think, he's going to be, he looks good on the shot.
Yeah, but when someone like John, the thing is, you're sitting in the other chair, you're thinking, this is in, that.
That's just all it is, isn't it? You just know, and even if it's not in, you think, well, maybe next time.
Well, I hope John's watching anyway, because he's thinking about packing in, and he's far too good anyway. So if you're watching John, Ronnie says you're brilliant, get back and play.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Actually, the other thing we were mentioning is the fact that Ken Doherty is the man who's given you the toughest match so far this week, isn't he?
Yeah, Ken, he played out of his skin, the first 4 or 5 frames, he didn't miss a ball, playing like, like he was enjoying it, which is what you got to do. And it was a tough game, but that was really tough for me today. He's one of the players, Martin, that you just want to do well because he puts the hours in. He's got the right attitude. He wants to kind of be the best that he can be, and he's prepared to push the boat out if he has to, which is good, So he's he'll be a top 16 player, I think, at some point.
Well, great to hear you being so generous about Martin today, and great to see you in the semi-finals once again, Ronnie. We'll look forward to that. Thank you very much for coming in.